Greetings gamers, Tim here again, and I know it's been a while since we've talked, and I put out a video on anything at all, and there are numerous reasons, thousands of reasons, just little bitty things that have caused part of the problem. Most of it is tied to my depression. My bipolar depression has been a little stronger over the last year. And part of it is because of my sleep schedule being so erratic. It has made it worse. And me and my doctor have worked on various sleep um, processes and medications to try and get me to sleeping something resembling normal human hours. And I'm okay being a night owl. I'm fine with that, but I just want to be sleeping 7 or 8 hours, not 13 to 15. And it's been more 13 to 15 lately. Um, I've also put on weight because I have not had much energy, and that lack of energy means I'm less active than I used to be, and it all ties to the depression. If you're not familiar with it, look up the spoon theory, and while that person applied it to a different kind of illness, it was still one of these illnesses that's considered an invisible illness. That is, you can't see it on the person, like a broken arm or a skin lesion or something visible. It's inside the body in such a way that it doesn't show unless you really know what you're looking for. And as I said, I put on weight, which has affected my vanity, what little I have, because I will go out like this uh, with no problems. But it's made me, basically not want to do the videos. My doctor has finally found a medication that is getting me to sleep. It's not one that I really wanted to be on because it is a fairly addictive substance. And so I'm watching that very, very, very carefully because I don't want to be addicted to something. And, the other medications I take are not generally addictive in nature. They're just, you take them and they help me feel better and things like that. Nose itches. Nose never itches before I start the video, and then my nose itches. And normally I stop the video and start reviewing, but rather than doing that, I'm just going to leave in all the quirks and other problems that are going to show up. And be honest with you, another part of it has been that I had my teeth replaced a few years ago, and so I wear dentures. And usually I only wear dentures when I'm leaving the house and going outside because I can eat just about any kind of food without the dentures. My grandfather, for example, could crack nuts with his gums because he didn't have very good teeth, and his teeth were removed when he went into the military. They just pulled them all. And I don't like doing these videos without my dentures in, so you combine that with lack of sleep and the depression, not wanting me to do much of anything, and the fact that I've increased weight and my vanity has just made me like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be seen this way. And you add to that the fact that this area I usually shoot my videos is my bedroom, and it is not very neat. And for a long time, like when I was a kid, I was a very, very messy kid. But for a long time after I became a teenager, until the depression got very severe, my room was, well, not spotless, but it was vacuumed. It was dusted. And except for books I was actively going through to read, like the stack I'm working on, it was generally neat and orderly, and now it's not. It's a big old mess. And I just don't have the daily energy to work on it. As I said, I might have said in the previous video, but look up the spoon theory, and it's about invisible illnesses, and basically how we have discrete levels of energy that our illness causes us to be able to spend, and sometimes we have fewer, amounts of that energy. And so, just getting up, just taking a shower takes energy. I recently saw somebody explain it as spells in old school Dungeons and Dragons where you have so many slots. And once a slot is spent, it's gone. You can't bid it back. You can't cast another spell of that level. But that's in older forms of D&D, of course. Newer forms have increased the magic effectiveness and access a lot. So it's a little different now. But there was a time when you hoarded your spells, and that's what I have to do in order to shoot these videos, is hoard that energy so that I feel like doing one. Other than that, I've had trouble with computers. I have trouble with the chair I was in. The chair I was in is sitting over here beside me. Hydraulics have gone out in it, and it's an office chair. And sitting in it basically means you would be seeing me like with the camera sitting where it is. Now I could move the camera, but it's going to show you the big mess my room is in, and I don't want to do that either. Because I really liked being a neat person and wish I could get back there. But as I said, my doctor has found a sleep medication that works very well. And while I'm still sleeping too many hours, it's adjusting those hours to something resembling most human norms. I still sleep too much, but I can get up and function for a little bit more. And it's slowly cutting back on sleeping too much, and that's a good thing in my book. I also recently had some serious money issues relating to my home and my mom, and her health is not good, so I've been having to do more to help her out. And I mean, she's generally a functional, on her own kind of human being, but and she's a little proud of things, so she does not want to be seen as weak, but she's getting up there in years. She's in her late 60s, and it's just a matter of, like me, a little bit of vanity. She doesn't want to be seen in certain ways, in certain lights, and I can't blame her, because I have the same feelings and issues on certain situations, like not having my teeth in, and having my room be a mess behind me. I have been gaming fairly regularly. I actually have 2 active game groups again, which means that I am fairly active, although one is a bi-weekly game group and the other one is a weekly game group for the most part. Occasionally we'll have a break. But, and that's been good. We've been playing Savage Worlds Rifts, which my normal game group, what I consider my main game group, is people who have been my friends for years and years and years, and we have played together fairly regularly at different times. Sometimes not gaming for a while and then getting back into it. And we tried Savage Worlds Rifts with them, as opposed to the other groups that I met from meetups. They're good people. I like them a lot. I'm enjoying them. I consider gaming with them pretty important as well. So it's not like I have favorites per se, but there are people who have been my friends longer, and it's just a matter of how we can schedule things to get things to work. And my normal game group, my default game group that is weekly, didn't care for Savage Worlds Rifts. They felt it was too fiddly. But then again, Savage Worlds itself is fairly fiddly with the card initiative, with the tokens for venues, with kind of the way health is handled, and they're not experienced with it, so it makes it feel worse. While I'm getting used to the so-called fiddliness as a player in the other group playing Savage Worlds, and I'm enjoying it quite a bit, although I'm the sole sort of what you might call not mercenary character. I'm a Cyber Knight, and everybody else is kind of underworld connection sorts. And like I do things sometimes that they're like, oh my gosh, that's terrible, and that's horrible, and they're like trying to morally make my character, you know, seem like he's becoming immoral, and it's really a matter of functionally saving lives. For example, we met a full combat cyborg, and I went and traded in all his cyborg parts to have him take his brain and nervous system taken out and put in a jar to protect him, so we can find him a non-combat robot form to put him in. I mean, sure, that may give him the chance to come back and have a new combat board body at some point in his life. But right now, that's not really my concern. It's just I don't want him shooting at us now, and so we have his brain in a jar. And I consider that an acceptable temporary measure. And he's supposed to be able to talk and communicate with us, so he doesn't go insane. But they keep making jokes about how he can't do that. He's just a brain in the jar. But I'm trying to basically give him the option for rehabilitation, getting put in the worker cyborg body, and say go work, go, do the things that are necessary to find a better life, because trying to kill us for the coalition didn't work out for you. And that's been pretty fun. I've also been running. I was running a play test for several months of a Wushu space opera game, and that went over pretty well. But then I wanted to try something different, and we've been playing off and on some one-shots of different things. We played Justifiers. We were going to play TMNT, but we didn't get the chance to play TMNT because it just didn't happen that way. And we tried several different games that we hadn't really given a chance. And I'm running a game now that's basically, my idea is I want a community-based science fiction game where the player characters are the people who go off the ship and interact with people and explore the planet and get the data and come back. Yeah, sure, they have probes for that, but that's not quite the same thing as having boots on the ground and minds that are, adept at maneuvering complex situations, which are going to come up. The first planet was not, because I'm trying to get them used to the system and how we're handling things, and also they haven't yet given me all the relationship map information that I wanted, just so we can get to start playing that night. I said, okay, we'll go without the relationship maps for now and play. And one of the people involved is not really liking it, but in general, he's a combat kind of guy. And there hasn't been much combat. I have not sent something big and predatory after them yet. But they basically have found a world that so far has no signs of civilization or technology, just wild animals. And wild animals, I'm not particularly afraid of them because they haven't had exposure to whatever, the spaceship or anything else. But when they go back, I want them to have a crew to interact with. I basically want to do what Beyond the Wall does for old school rules fantasy, which ties people to the community and makes that community important. And I want to do that for science fiction. And it's a struggle because I've got to overcome people who are used to just fighting monsters and looting treasure, and occasionally trying to overcome puzzles and role playing added to that. And I'm trying to focus more on the role playing aspect than the looting and fighting monsters, and that's somewhat difficult. We're also playing a super horror campaign, which means most of the player characters are monsters. Think Ghost Rider, think DC's The Demon, things like that. And that's kept me pretty busy for a while, and we played, and I've been wanting to draw my character, but I've discovered that I have this curse that if I draw my player character, the game will be, something will happen. Somebody will have to leave, and nobody else will want to keep going, and it will fall apart or something like that. So I literally have avoided drawing my player characters lately, simply because it has begun to feel like a curse. I don't believe in curses, except out of inside games, but it's pretty common. And I think it's really more a sign of the fact that when you start a game and you move a game along, when you lose people who you feel are important to the core of that game, it tends to fall apart on its own. And me drawing my character usually means that we've been playing long enough for me to get a clear picture of exactly what he looks like, or she looks like. And so far, not drawing the character has worked, and being stubborn when I have drawn the character has worked. So we're going to stick with this for a while and see what happens. So far, having other people draw the character has not caused any problems, so I'm getting some submissions in here and there. As for games I'm working on, I am working on Derelict Delvers. Excuse my tongue slipping there. Whatever I finally call it, it will probably be called Derelict Delvers, simply because that seems to be the most suitable name that has stuck with it as a prototype. But at the same time, it has evolved far past what I wanted it to be in the first place. I originally wanted it to be a sci-fi, old-school rules club, but I've seen people do that better, and with a far better grasp of old-school rules, despite me having played since the 1980s. And there's one of my dogs, anyway. But since I've played so long, I have a grasp of other people's versions of old school rules. But when I sit down and try and write them, I go, this isn't getting the feel I'm wanting, so what do I change? How do I change it? I end up, with something that doesn't look old school rules anymore. It looks completely its own thing. But that's something I'm accepting. I was challenged by the cover art, because the cover artist did far more fantastic job than I intended. See, this is what I have to put up when recording videos. Very much so. You can't see the one trying to run in my lap, who's the one making most of the noise. But the fundamentals are, as I'm still working. Hearts and Souls is mostly done. It just needs examples, which I've been working on for a while, and some clarifications and simplification, which is always, I have found that I have overwrought something, and that creates an issue. So, excuse the long break, and excuse this somewhat informal chat. I'm going to cut it off now because I have two dogs trying to clamber into my lap at the same time. But thank you for your time. Thank you for sticking with me, and thank you for asking about how I was doing. I'm apparently doing pretty well, all things considered, at the moment. So there's that. We're going to stop this here, and hopefully the dogs will be settled